this man? He talks in mass. He buzzes like a fridge. He's like a T-tune.
As you can tell, the first picture is of this lovely building that actually opens up Museum Island for Berlin. But the second picture shows how close it is into proximity with, still a little bit of the Western view of things, putting up advertisements, billboards, that close to something so many people look at as historical monuments. And again, I think that also says something, like we learned from the topography of terror. You have to interpret the photograph every time you look at it, because easily, number one in the set that I show is, you would never think that that advertisement was there. But with the wide version of it, you can see clearly that the right-hand side has that huge billboard. So you actually, for me at least, this picture kind of started the trip off right, that you can edit photography, especially film, into manipulating the audience into propaganda, just like the Nazis did, into believing whatever the artist, quote unquote, wants you to believe. You can do it with any set of photographs. This one's just a lot easier because you can kind of see how vastly different the two pictures are. I think a lot of people went on study abroad just to do that, to study abroad, which is fine, and that's what you're supposed to do. Not drink abroad, obviously, but to really study a culture and a country that you're unfamiliar with. The history can only get you so far. That's the skeleton of each new district that you're unfamiliar with. The real meat on an unfamiliar territory is the culture, the people, the food, the music, how they interact with one another. That's what communication essentially is. So, for this class at least, the historical components only mean so much, because you can't really examine a country on its history alone, because the interactions between the people show where they were, where they are, and where they're going in years to come. So this picture I just found funny. It's not shot well, it's blurry, but she has 99 red balloons in Germany. And the fact of the matter is, you're never going to see 99 red balloons in Germany. The song, I found it ironic. It's perfect. You can see her interacting with her school friends. School just let out. And the way they're dressed is, I think, captured, because everybody dressed a little bit out of their way funky over there, which was great to see. And there should be more of that here, I think. But it's not the perfect picture, but it, I think, captures the irony of some of the interactions on the trip. Again, focusing on the culture, I took this picture in an alley with Eva Genia, Katie Kelly, and Wes. And it was one of those things above a door frame that you would not catch unless you were looking all around and surveying the entire building before you actually caught on. Luckily for us, all four of us are extremely observant and picked up on the setup immediately. But I just thought it was so clever that a little flaw in a building can become an entire artwork, that you can set up things to make it look like it was put there purposely, which spoke really hard to me, because sometimes, especially with my videos and some of the projects I have going on involving film and photography, I try to do everything perfectly, especially shots. And, learning that you can accompany your one flaw, or your several flaws in my case, into art and make it where if you fumble the camera on a shot, you did it purposely, but make it look like it's flawless. And I just really like it. I love the way it was shot. It's, again, a pretty okay photograph, but not the best. But you can see how they set up the bodies, and I just think it's extremely clever and an extremely good example of the difference, sometimes, of German street kids who think before they graffiti, which we saw a ton of, and then the kids here in Columbus, maybe, that, not all of them, but go out and spray paint curse words. So the fact that German artists that live in these huge communes, which is absolutely phenomenal to me, can go out of their way to think of something like this and incorporate it into not only their daily lives, but leave it on the side of a building so everyone can enjoy it. I just think that's extremely powerful, and it really speaks for the artists themselves. Probably one of my most prized pictures I've ever taken is of the Brandenburg Gate. I don't know how I got this shot. I don't know why it came out that good. But there's a series of 2 or 3 of pictures of the Brandenburg Gate. They're absolutely, to me, I think they came out great. I don't know, again, how I did it, but the bottom half of the pictures are extremely dark. I didn't mess with tinting. I didn't mess with any editing on these pictures whatsoever yet. But it's chiaroscuro on the bottom and extremely soft at top. And the first one in the set has like a halo around it, almost in the sky, and I think it just looks so good. And even when I'm, looking at these pictures now after the trip, it kind of makes me at least, if this was in a gallery or up for some sort of interpretation, I think it is kind of symbolic about Berlin. On the bottom it's a really dark past, but on the top, there's hope for the future. And all of the pictures in the set, not all of them as powerful to me as the first, but you can actually see the dark and the light with the sun setting behind the gate. And I think they just came out perfect. I'm not trying to be cocky, but the first one I think is really, really good. And if I could shoot like this every time, I think it would be perfect.